Man, you are not going to believe, not even going to believe what I finally pulled the trigger on. Finally. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Legacy Thunder Megazord. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Looks amazing. I've always wanted it. I never had it. I have already the Megazord, Dragonzord, Titanus, the black and gold Megazord, but I'm still missing the black and gold Dragonzord. The black and gold Titanus hasn't come out yet. And then, of course, the Ninja Megazord and the Falcon Zord, which those I'm kind of like I'm on the fence on those, and I'm on the fence also for the other black and gold ones. I was a scumbag reseller at the time, and I bought that black and gold one because it was a Comic-Con exclusive, and I bought off that Toys R Us. You know how they do, you know, like the day of or whatever, or the day after it's released at the Comic-Con, then it comes out on their website at Toys R Us, and it's exclusive to them, which most of these are. So I bought it off of them, and I bought two of them, one for me, one to sell, and the one to sell was a, I mean, it was a disaster. It took me almost a year, I think, to even move it, and I eventually just sold it for pretty much at cost, or maybe even below cost, just to get rid of it. So, you know, that's on me, and, you know, that's what I get for trying to be a reseller at the time. But, you know, live and learn. Anyway, shut the fuck up. Let's open it. I gotta open it right now. Beautiful bastard. So, this thing, of course, is amazing, as I always thought it would be. But there are some huge differences, as there usually are with the Legacy versus the original. First and foremost, the Legacies are usually a little bit smaller, but very, very tiny, like, you know, half an inch to an inch smaller. The other thing is, of course, they're heavier. They're made of die cast, and, you know, some parts die cast, some parts just better metals. And then at other times they'll also have more articulation than what usually is there. Case in point, this is the Red Dragonzord. So in the old times, it was sold three different ways, if I remember. The first way, of course, was separate on its own. It was this, and then it was the Assault Team, which was the other four droids, and they were all together in one as the Thunder Megazord Assault Team. And then, like I just said, you had the Red Dragonzord on its own. The third one was when the Shuttle Zord came out, which was the third one, or the version of Titanus in this wave. They had a tiny one that came out like that. And if you're counting that, then you're also going to count, you know, like they had the automated one. Is that the word? The remote control one. They had that one. As is, they also had that with the White Tiger Zord and the original Megazord as well. So they had that. And then, if I remember correctly, they eventually released all of them together as just the Megazord. But when the show first started, in the beginning and all that, and yada, 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 it was, of course, separate at the time. Now, biggest thing with this, so first there is the claws, are very different. Oh, and I'm going to be speaking on all this as if you remember exact details of this and didn't just give away your original Megazords to your best friend's kids like I have. The feet, they're different, only the claws move. Last time it was the entire the front claws move, and this last time it was the entire claw move. It's like the thumb and shit like that. The tail works about the same, and the head is pretty much the same. Of course, this is all a little bit tighter because it's not 30 years old. Now, the biggest thing with this is that it does this. It never did that before because it pops in and out, as you can see there, and there. So it did move and you could get it on an angle, but it's because there was a hinge like here, and then a hinge there, and that was pretty much it. But this one makes it to where it's all hinges. So this moves exactly how the Titanus head is, to where it could pretty much almost do anything, that you would think an actual dragon would be able to do. And then the same is with the biggest part on the assault team. This runs pretty much the same. They all go into the base. As you see, they probably clip in a little bit better than what it used to be on the original one. Now, I don't remember much about this for two reasons. One, the base and the, well, I guess just one reason. The base and the Falcon, Firebird? I think it's Firebird. Firebird Thunderzord. The Firebird Thunderzord and the base were stolen from a friend of mine when I was a kid, and I never got it back. So I don't know what happened. I don't remember what happened with that. I know we fought about it, but I never was able, after the fight, I was never able to get back to his house and get it. So there's that. So I was never able to complete the Megazord after that, or I was never able to do the assault like this. But I do remember, one thing is it did have the wheels, so it can move around, and this one does not have the wheels, as you can see right there. But it's still cool. It still acts as, Here is the magnificent bastard Megazord in all of its glory. You can see it right here with the pan up. Amazing. Now, this one is, I'm biased. So I want to say I love it, but it's actually, of all the ones that I've had so far, I feel like it's the worst one. There's a lot of moving parts to this one, and that's kind of how it was back in the day. It always felt kind of flimsy, and they've definitely mimicked that. It definitely feels flimsy. So it's got that going on, so it doesn't sit even. Now the others, they always have, what I've kind of noticed is that they have almost like a wider stance. The legs are spread out a little more. So here we go with the White Tiger Zord, and he is, he sits pretty solid. You've got to try to get him to move back and forth, but you see how that kind of like it stretches out there a little bit. But that's kind of like how the original Megazord, the other Megazord, is as well. But the originals aren't like that. The originals, the legs were, completely straight. So it's a little different. Now, of course, the detail is amazing. Everything is there, and I don't even remember the last time I saw half of these parts because they are all lost. That's why, like the helmet goes, like 30 something bucks on eBay. Same for like the Firebird's tail, the sword, the chain for the sword, and then of course, now this one doesn't have it, but if you remember back in the day, this thing would pop down. It was a lot bigger too. That's what I was talking about. This one's a lot smaller than the original, but the bigger one, if this would pop down, and you would have 5 tiny little fucking, quarter of an inch little characters, little plastic characters that stuck in these pegs, and they represented the 5 Power Rangers that stuck in there. Guaranteed, everybody lost theirs. And if you have them, you're selling them on eBay for $100 for 5 little things. I'm kind of glad that isn't there. I wish it was there, just so I could this time keep it and know to keep it, shit like that. But whatever. It's no big deal. It's not good. I had to pop that down so you could see it all the time anyway while it's on display. Second is what I do like about these is that there's no stickers. The design is built into the mold, so I don't have to spend time putting the stickers on, which would be one thing, and 2, they're not going to waste away, be destroyed by the sun, or peel off over time. So that was always the downfall of the other ones as well. One thing I don't enjoy is that because of that, we get the good mold, but we sacrifice a little bit that we had from when we were kids. Like the White Tiger Zord doesn't make any noise. Tor, if they ever make Tor the Shuttle Zord, I would assume it'd be the same thing. He won't make noise. The Legacy Dragon Zords don't make noise. Yeah, that kind of sucks because it was cool to have those, but have them make noises. But you could always get the originals and you know, if it's not corroded, make those have noises or something. But I mean, again, not huge complaints or anything like that. It's just a little information I like to throw out there. So the flimsiness is the biggest issue that I have with it. I mean, it's just going to be sitting there on a shelf next to the rest of them. So that's fine. I still just love the look of it. It is definitely taller than the White Tiger Zord, which is what it should be. Another great thing that I enjoy is so the wrists move. There's wrist articulation, and then the fingers, just like all the others, go in and out, as you can see. With that, that was never a thing back in the day, so that's really cool. And then another big thing, when we pop the helmet off here, as you can see, the Red Dragon Zord's head moves, and that was never a thing either. And you know, his head goes in a little bit different to his body, and so that's why it can move. So it's just those little things that were changed on it that I think are really cool, and I almost think it's like a fan service. So here's the Thunder Megazord, or what the Assault Team mixed together with the White Tiger Zord, which is the Ultra White Tiger Zord, something like that. I can't remember. Pretty much the same as what it was before. The Mastodons, no, I can't remember what the name of the Lion Thunder Zord, Black Rangers, clips on differently. It doesn't have, it was the two shoulder pegs that kind of just slide onto the back. That's not the case with this one anymore. Instead, this one is going to be, it's this little piece right here, which is basically just a part for the Assault Team's little cruiser thing, and that just kind of, it clips onto there and it's held onto that. The other ones, these tops here, the shoulder tops for the rest of the Lion Thunder Zord, just clip onto here, which is kind of a running theme with it, with this one now. A lot of times with the old one, it was like a slide in and into, you know, it was hollowed out, and then a leg would go into one spot and an arm would go into another. This is more pretty much just everything clips on, which is good and bad. Good because it's sturdier, bad because the peg might break off in time. Now, the downside to this, again, you know, it's almost like the weight is crushing it on its own, so it definitely does move around. It tends to lean to its right, your left if you're facing it, just because of the weight. I'm assuming because the Firebird is on its right hand here, so it's leaning over. And then also, so you know, these peg in here instead of sliding in, which back in the day this slid all the way up, you know. So this one is in pegs which flip up from the back, as you can see with these holes here. So it's a piece that's there and it flips up, and then the peg is right there. Now, because of that, it can do that and fall out. So it's almost like it's breaking backwards. Now, this probably won't be an issue when it's sitting on a shelf, but it is a cause for concern. Lastly, another unfortunate downside is, so the I think with the original one, this one just slid around the arm and just kind of was held up there, not by a peg or anything like that. Now again, you know, I don't remember much of it because it was stolen from me as a kid, but this one has a handle again from the Assault Team cruiser pad, and it's just kind of clipped onto the bottom of her there, and then it goes into the hand of the White Tiger Zord. Now, and then it has that peg that's right there that it goes around. It doesn't clip into it or anything like that, but it is made to just kind of hold there. And then, of course, you flip around the Firebird and hold it. Now, of course, any movement whatsoever will make it fall right off. And again, a lot of this is crazy flimsy. A lot of it's made to detach, like these here are the parts of the Unicorn and Pegasus down here, or Blue and Yellow Rangers Zords. So they're made to come off when it's made to do that. And then the legs for the White Tiger Zord are made to come off as well. And what that's kind of sucks is that just creates more problems if you end up, like if you're messing around with it, you end up losing it. I know, this is for 15 and up, so this is definitely made for adult collectors, and adult collectors probably aren't going to be messing around to where they're going to be losing the shit as we did when we were fucking children. So, it's probably not too huge of a concern right now, but I still just don't enjoy having it around, having pieces lying around. So when it comes down to it, these would probably just be separate. So, nothing is really loose at all. Now, the upside, the red Dragon Zord, I think, is my favorite part of it. He is incredibly sturdy, and then he can be not sturdy when he wants to go into dragon mode. It's just, the weight of it's really cool. And you can almost get like bendable knees with them, which you couldn't do at all with any of these things back in the day. I just think it's super cool. The way that, because his head moves, you can shake yes or no like that is just ridiculous to me. And then, of course, he has independent claws here, as you can see there and there. And so that's kind of made so for when he's, because it separates, for when he's in the dragon. But when he's in a, bipedal human form, it looks like he's flipping somebody off. And that's pretty much all we could ask for with toys nowadays, is obscenities. So that's it.